Hello, loyal fan base. As you're aware, this video is out a day late, and I apologize greatly for that, but it's something that can simply not be forgiven. I have brought shame and dishonor to my Japanese ancestors, of which I have none. So, for that reason, I must commit the Japanese art of seppuku. It's the only way to atone for my sins. Banzai! Wait a second! There was already a seppuku scene in Naruto this week, you know, with the Reaper Seal. Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm ripping them off. Let's see, what else can I do to make up for it? I hereby resign from the 7 warlords of the... Damn it, no, that was already in One Piece. Crap. Well, shit. Then I'm sorry I got out the video late. Shit happens, you know? Oh! Jeez. Sorry that I didn't even know I had a cat, but they just wander in sometime. Well, that one's not going to be wandering around anytime soon. Haha, I'm a terrible person. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here to review Bleach chapter number 525 entitled Edges. The chapter opens up with Kenpachi losing consciousness again. It's actually happened to him several times ever since the fight began, and he mentions in a kind of humorous way that this never really happened to him in battle before. Fights have always given him a hard-on. You know what? I'm kind of kicking myself, I really am, because I felt like I used this joke too early in the last review. Ah, screw it, let's play it again now.
I have the weirdest boner right now.
But he also brings up the fact that the only time he's ever lost consciousness before was that one other time when they fought. The title page is of Zaraki as a young boy looking away, so that's a pretty awesome picture right there. Then we have a quick flashback to the past where we see Captain Unohana and, you know, I don't know about you, but he kind of looks like Renji's dad. I mean, I know he's probably not Renji's dad, just the way his face looks and the fact that I think it's the headband. I think it's the headband that gets me thinking that way, but he just kind of looks like Renji's dad. I don't know. Oh, so how did it go? Oh, I'm sorry, Captain. We looked high and low, but we couldn't find a single person that could give you a real thrill in battle. Oh, that's okay. How's your son doing? Oh, he's doing great. I'm a little concerned, though, because my wife has blonde hair and he ended up with red, so... You know, I'm not a little curious about what happened there, but check out that massive mound of corpses. I bet you had fun while I was away. Mound of corpses? What are you talking about? Oh, holy Christmas! Look at that massacre! Hey, yeah, so going back to the whole finding somebody for you to fight, yes, I know, it's just go away. And, you know, this was kind of interesting because when I first saw him like that, I was drawing conclusions like Kenpachi's very similar to Aizen, whereas Aizen, like, there's no explanation why Aizen was, you know, ungodly strong, or there's no explanation why Kenpachi was just that way. They were just born that way. And, baby, and you're born. Damn it, Lady Gaga, get out of my head. But, yeah, that's just kind of how they existed. Although after consulting some people, I discovered that I was going to group them more into, not exactly with Aizen, because Aizen's on kind of on a whole other level, but if I was going to group Kenpachi in with somebody, I would group them in with Gin and Toshiro as like this Bleach club for the most gifted Shinigami, kind of like that. I mean, I had to sit back and just think for a second, like, this generation of the Goatee 13 ended up with, like, all these child prodigies. I mean, think about it. They had Gin in there, Toshiro, Kenpachi, they had Aizen in there, which is kind of on a whole other level, but, you know, like, this one specific generation of Goatee 13 just ended up with all the, you know, like, all the child geniuses for some reason. I don't know. We cut back to the present where Kenpachi finally manages to land a hit on Unohana. He mentions how, like, for most of this fight, he's been kind of like, you know, fighting by reflex and defensively, and now he's finally managing to go on the offensive a little bit. And, I mean, he knows the whole thing about, you know, every time I lose consciousness, then come back, I'm stronger, but he's not really paying much attention to it. He's not really thinking of why that happens or what's the case. It's just like, oh, well, every time this happens, I'm getting stronger, so whatever, I'll just go with it. And this is where we get the main point of the chapter, where Unohana says that ever since that fight with Kenpachi when he was a little kid, he has been shackling himself or handcuffing his powers, and not in the sense like with the eye patch, like even before that on like a subconscious level. See, what was going on was basically when Kenpachi was a child and was fighting Unohana, that was probably the closest thing to an even match they ever had, you know? Like, he felt a bunch of stuff, she felt a bunch of stuff they never felt before when they were fighting. That sounded very dirty. I can put so many sexual innuendos in the fight between these two, it's not even funny. But, basically, they looked and appeared like they were evenly matched, but from her perspective, Unohana was in fact weaker. That's right. Kenpachi, as a child, could have killed Unohana at her prime. That is just so freaking scary. That's just incredible. He was that, that amazing as a child. So he was aware of this. I don't know if he was aware of this consciously or subconsciously as a child, but he knew that if he killed Unohana here, which he definitely could have, then that's it. There's nobody else. Like, this is the closest we're ever going to get to. So in that fight, he kind of subconsciously shackled his powers, like pulling himself back so he would not kill her, so, he could keep the thrill going for as long as physically possible. This brings up a question, though, that, okay, let's just say that Kenpachi didn't really know of it. He just subconsciously shackled his power. He wasn't aware of it. He didn't actually think out loud, like, if I kill her, that's it. He did it subconsciously. Why have these two never fought in the history of the goatee after this one altercation when he was a kid? Maybe Unohana just didn't want to. I mean, I'm sure Kenpachi would have wanted to. It's odd that he never mentioned it, though. Ever since he lost against Ichigo, Kenpachi's going crazy. Like, I need to fight Ichigo again. I need to fight Ichigo again. Why? There's a perfectly good opponent that you love to fight right down the road past Maplewood Drive. Just go talk to her. It's like, hey, bitch, you want to throw down? Like that. I don't know. But, maybe I'm sure there's a reason for that in the they can't fight in the Seirei or something, but you could have like a sparring match or something. I don't know. But, and she also brings up here that every single time that Kenpachi comes close to death, and he comes back from it, or he gets, maybe not die and come back, just gets close to the brink of death, he unshackles his powers a little bit subconsciously, like little by little by little. That's the reason he barely won against Ichigo, and that's the reason he barely lost against Ichigo and barely won against Noitora, which makes perfect sense, because in both of those fights, I mean, we've seen other fights that Kenpachi's been in, but those two fights are really the only ones where he really came close to death, barring Juha. Noitora beat him down sufficiently where Kenpachi's like, damn, I'm gonna die here. So then he, he unshackled himself about powers a little bit. Ichigo's the same way, except he lost in that case. So, final couple pages of the chapter, we finally get to, the whole explanation of why he's been losing consciousness, and a lot of people were assuming this, and I didn't, because every time I read a chapter, I figure out, I look way too deep into it, and I end up with a completely different, idea of what's going on. But basically, the issue, what was happening was that, yes, Unohana was, successively killing Kenpachi again and again and again, or at least mortally wounding him, and every time she did that, he healed him. So in between that time, like, stab him in the heart, loses consciousness for a second, pulls sword out, heals him with Minazuki, and then he comes right back to fighting again. And every time that happens, he's slowly regaining his powers. And the last scene of the chapter, finally, Kenpachi reawakens again with his consciousness restored, probably more badass than ever, and lays a heavenly cut right down on Unohana. And then Unohana dies. Or does she? I would not say she dies right here, because from this whole explanation in this chapter that we got, and the whole thing what Shunsui said earlier about one of these people are going to die, it's fairly obvious that in this chapter we're leaning toward Unohana dying and Kenpachi living. I don't think this is what the attack that's going to do it, because if you notice, right when Kenpachi lays this strike on her, Unohana's sword, at least the blade at least, is gone. Like, she's holding the hilt, and it's covered by her Haori a little bit, but even if it was covered by her Haori, you'd be able to see the blade at least a little bit, and you can't. So, in this final scene, I'm assuming she either activated Shikai or Bankai. Shikai is Minazuki. I mean, that causes her blade to disappear. That would make perfect sense. But her Bankai could have easily just have the same effect of her blade disappearing. But she definitely did something. I don't think this is the end for Unohana right here, because I don't think Unohana is going to be satisfied until she's definitely sure that Kenpachi has awakened all of his abilities. Like completely 100% uncuffed, ready to go, ready for action. Actually though, wait a second. So, where have I seen this before? A child that has unimaginable strength that can kill anybody in his path, but then slowly as he grows older, the power is handcuffed and repressed until he's eventually just a shadow of his former self. Oh my god! I'm sorry, Juha, but unless you can enlist the help of Goku, you are fucked! I mean, really, like, hardcore! There's no way you're coming back from that if it's like the same level of power there. Kenpachi's going to end your freaking little Vondenreich or whatever you have going on. I mean, gone! Yeah, so that's the end of the chapter. And, you know, in retrospect, it's pretty short. It was mostly just a fight, coupled with Unohana's, you know, flashback to when she first met Kenpachi and everything. I was kind of like, most of it was a flashback, so I can't really complain, but it was a flashback done in a way that I really didn't like. I don't like it when he just, you know, like, makes time freeze in a battle and just like has a person monologue the entire time thinking about the past. Like, Unohana's in the middle of a fight here. I mean, she's not going to be able to, you know, like, it's like, oh yes, I remember the good old days back when I, you know, like, she wouldn't have time to do that. You could have easily just had a regular flashback the entire chapter, and then at the very, very end had maybe a little bit of the monologue and then like the final cut. I mean, you didn't have to do the whole like inner monologue throughout the entire thing. I hate when flashbacks are done that way. But regardless of that, good chapter. I really liked it. Like I said, I don't think Unohana's going to die in the next chapter in the slightest. But yeah, that's about it, guys. So everyone, Tekking101 signing out. Oh, hey buddy, what's up? Didn't want to leave without saying goodbye to you. So, am I gonna die? What does that mean? What's going to happen when it hits 0? I guess that's my sin.